Yeah. One person joining us. Let's see what else is coming in so far. Yeah, so that's we're being streamed on YouTube as we speak.
You on the record?
Yeah.
I'm going upstairs real quick.
Sure, as long as I'm all right, that's all I need to be. Got 2 of my 3. Now I need for 1 more. Mr. Potosky, is this you? Solaris, I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Ms. Romo, just so I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Judge.
I have somebody that's identified as NH6B/7. Is that you, Mr. Potosky? Wait a second. Mr. Potosky, is that you with the photograph?
Yes. What photograph?
That's a picture of a dog.
I have no idea where that came in.
So that must be you because I unmuted you and that's what we came up with. If someone looks like a pet. All right, we got everyone here. We have Mr. Solaris, we have Mr. Potosky, and we have Mr. Romo who can hear us. And we're here in the matter of State of Arizona versus Peter Potosky, Nogales City Court case number 2019-00039. Like I said, for the record, we have Mr. Solaris and Mr. Potosky who are appearing. Mr. Potosky is appearing by audio only. Well, he's now showing, I guess now I can see you, but that photograph of the animal is superimposed over whatever it is, I don't know. But, okay, this is a hearing, a status hearing. I've made a ruling on a motion to dismiss. There has been a subsequent motion to dismiss that I have not ruled on because Mr. Solaris has not had the full time limit which to reply. But Mr. Solaris has filed a pretrial statement. Mr. Potosky, I believe you've made your Rule 15.2 disclosures also. I just got that today. And there's I guess some preliminary matters we have to deal with. First of all, Mr. Potosky, in one of your motions, and I forget which one, you talk about the ability to impose jail. If I do not point the counsel for you, I can't sentence you to jail no matter what I feel.
Damn it. Hold on.
Okay.
Shoot.
What? Now there's another picture of the dog in the background. I guess.
Yeah. Hold on. Damn it. All right. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I can see you. It's sort of like, the picture is partially obscured, but I can see you.
Oh, that's a dog in the background. That's a
Dog in the
painting.
background, but there was another dog before that when all there was a picture of a dog. And I don't know.
That was my dog.
Okay. All right, back to where we were. First of all, you made a statement in one of your motions that even if I don't point an attorney represent you, I still have the right to send it to jail. That's incorrect. If an attorney is not appointed for you, no matter what happens, I cannot sentence you to jail. That's the law. So as long as you don't have an attorney, jail is not an option available to anyone under any circumstance.
And what is that law?
Private constitutional, off the top of my head, I can't tell you, but that's what exists, and that's what I've been trained, and that's how I handle it. Unless attorney's appointed to represent you, that option no longer exists under any circumstances. So,
Even though he's already said he wasn't going to.
even though even if he said he's not going to, and let's do hypothetical. Say he's already said he's not going to seek jail. So did not appoint an attorney to represent you. That also precludes me from sentencing you to jail. So that's not a sentencing option that exists if necessary. Just so that's clarified.
Okay, so clarify that Mr. whatever his name is, said he wasn't going to seek jail time. He also said he wasn't going to use the police report at that same hearing. And then in his 15.1 disclosures, he said he was going to use it. Okay.
Well,
so
that's the issue of what he's disclosed it now. So if he wants to use it, I mean, he's listed as a potential. Doesn't mean he's going to, but he's listed as potential. He might. So, but he's on the record, and I'm holding him to it. So until he tells me differently, jail's not an option. And he can't come in and say, like, the day of trial, he wants jail, because the minute he does that, you have the right to continue. You have the right to an attorney, and you would have the legitimate right to continue any proceedings until your attorney's appointed and up to speed.
okay, and let's say I bring in an attorney from some legal help or something like that, Okay, could he then change his mind or you change your mind?
Arguably, yes, because as long as you have an attorney, then the option to impose jail becomes that option. It becomes an option, yes.
Judge, if I may,
Sure.
the state is not going to be seeking jail.
Okay, so he's not going to ask it. So I guess if you have a trial and you're found guilty,
Even if I have an attorney.
even if you have an attorney, if you're found guilty, he said he's not going to ask. He's put it on the record now. Because this is being recorded, there's a record being made of this.
That's if I find,
If you're
if
found,
I'm found guilty.
Right.
Okay, and I've put so many things in the record trying to avoid a trial, but for some reason, everybody wants a trial, and their chief complainant, I put so many things in there that the guy is just a lunatic.
well, that's the state has the power to do that. It's their decision. I can't second guess them. At the same time, I can't
Just this past week, he sent two deputies over to my house, made a tactical assault on my gate before I shooed them away. Is this the kind of person that should have that authority when he's not even the sheriff yet?
Well, that is outside my purview. If you believe he's violated his authority as a police officer,
He's not a police officer. He's a part-time judge at Huachuca City. Are you familiar with Huachuca City?
I'm someone. I know where it's at. That's about it.
Yeah, it's a speed trap town, essentially.
But I mean, if he has violated his duty, I guess you may want to talk to an attorney about what remedies you have. But I have nothing. That's something I guess you can raise at trial if we get to there. But at this point in time, it's up to, the state has chosen its witnesses and it lives or dies by its choices. And they've listed 4 witnesses and 1 police.
What for?
Officers Scarlett Bunting, Keith Barth, Beth Barth, and Michelle Cardillo. Those are the witnesses they list.
Oh, okay.
They don't list any other witnesses. You have listed a number of other witnesses, so it's your job to get them to court. It's your job to talk to them.
And it's your job to give me the subpoena so I can do that.
Well, that goes to the Nogales City Court because by Judge Fink's ruling, this is still a matter being held.
Okay, you want me to go to the Nogales City Court to get the subpoenas?
That's the process. I don't know any other way to do it. I can ask Ms. Romo if there's another way to do it.
No, let's not bring her in here.
She's listening, so it's your responsibility.
I don't want to go in Nogales. I mean, it's a hotbed of I mean, it's hotbed anyway, but it's a hotbed of the virus right now. I mean, seriously hot.
Nogales?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Oh,
Well,
no,
it's neither here nor there. But if you social distance and you wear a mask, the courts are required to follow proper procedures to prevent that. I mean, city court, we've got masks everywhere. We've got shields up. So I assume Nogales City Court has done the same thing. So there's a Supreme Court order that says they have to take appropriate safety measures. So I don't know what they've done because I've never even been to Nogales City Court. I don't think I've ever been to. I think I've been to Nogales Justice Court probably 25, 30 years ago, and I haven't been otherwise than that. I've never been down to any of the courts in that area, state of Arizona. So I have no idea what the facilities look like or what they've done at this point in time, but I assume they're following the guidelines put forth by the Arizona Supreme Court concerning public health safety. So
now I've got an issue. I sent both the Nogales City Municipal, whatever it is, court, an email and copied it to you about the fees for the appeal to the Superior Court in case you deny my my request for a waiver, which I'm sure you will.
Well, I mean, I have no problem. What I need to do is I need to talk to Ms. Romo and find out what the standards are, because I know what the standards are in Tucson City. Under Tucson City Court standards, you would not be entitled to a fee waiver because your income is more than 2 times the federal poverty guidelines. That's the standard we use in Tucson. I
What
don't
income?
understand. Well, you list in your petition, in your statement, you list your income.
No.
You should,
that
yeah, you
was-
did.
I get disability insurance, which ends in less than 6 months.
Well, that's income for now, so, and we're looking at your situation now. You list.
Fine. All right. Well, put it in writing and I'll deal with it during the appeal itself. Now, the issue is if I have to appeal this and use my own insurance money, okay, or I can wait for Trump to give me another stimulus check. How much are those fees and who do I pay it to?
That I'll have to ask Ms. Romo for. Unmute her and we can ask her. Ms. Romo, can you hear us now?
Yes, I
Here.
do. Yes.
What fees, what fees, if any, are there for an appeal out of a criminal case? And
It'll be only the recording, because I believe it went to $25.
okay,
And then once it's at the Superior Court level, they have their own fees, but not in the municipal court.
okay.
You can file the appeal, and it will only be the recordings of the hearings that you need to pay.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Potosky, did you hear that?
Yeah.
This is not like a civil appeal where you got to pay for a bond and stuff like that. Criminal appeals, generally, there's no fees in there involved, except for the record and
And do I get a copy of that record for my appeal?
that's what you have to pay
Okay.
for. That's what she's saying.
So I will have to send them a money order, or do they have something reasonable like PayPal?
That I don't know. You have to ask Ms. Romo. See what she has. You can probably go online to find out, but let me ask. Ms. Romo, do you guys take online payments of any kind, either a PayPal or something like that?
Yes, we do have an online payment, also by phone payment. They'll charge 5% of the payment. So if it's $25, you'll end up paying 5% of the $25 for the recording.
Which is?
$25, if my math is correct.
Sorry, I was just trying to. Anyway, mute her back, please.
Okay. All right. So then I also noticed when I was going back to the old motions, you had filed a motion for a jury trial, which I had not ruled on. And under Arizona law, you're not entitled to a jury trial on these charges, so you're not entitled to a jury trial for these charges.
Put it in writing, please.
I'll make a ruling saying no jury trial. So,
Now, did you go back and read why the two previous judges appointed an attorney for me?
well, the only thing I found, is one of them made a statement about a Rule 11 evaluation. That's the only thing I saw as a basis for the appointment. There's nothing in the files that I have that says anything other that makes any kind of statement as to why. But that still does not, by itself, entitle to court-appointed attorney. Standard
No.
basically is.
Well, no. Anyway, I have several. I have a motion and several supplements where I stated about my disabilities that I have. I mean, I can't last more than an hour. You might as well expect that. At 4 o'clock, I really super request that you cancel or end the meeting because it's not gonna last. It's already not lasting too much longer.
Yeah,
But I
something like
have disabilities where I could not go to a trial. Ms. Trull and I discussed that because she wanted to switch to an advisor, and we decided not to because of that. The other issue is that I would not be able to get an attorney in Santa Cruz County because, as we found out with the first appointed attorney, that was Mr. Abrams, that he was seriously intimidated by Santa Cruz County and Tommy Fink. So there are some serious issues where not only can I. Anyway, you get the gist, and it's all in the. Mr. Solaris, could you please mute when when you're not speaking, it switches over to your screen and interrupts the judge, please. I do that when I'm not speaking.
So anyway, the standard still is whether or not the state's seeking jail, and they're not. And that's the basic standard. These other arguments, yes, are
Interest of justice.
interesting, but the interest of justice is, you know, we handle, I mean, we have a mental health court here in city court, we have a veterans court, and we don't appoint attorneys in those cases, and those cases have issues just as compelling as anything you're stating to me now. So I'm still not inclined, I'm still going to keep it unless the state's seeking jail. I mean, it's my ruling, it's on the record, and if there's an appeal, you can raise that issue on appeal. So the next step is I'm going to set a trial date. I'll set a motion deadline. How long does the state anticipate this trial going to take?
Judge, we have 4 witnesses. And depending on how many witnesses Mr. Potosky has, I did not receive his disclosure or the exhibits and witnesses. I have not been in the office today. So
Well,
from
the
the
part of the trial is going to take.
from the part of the state, I would say just half a day.
Mr. Potosky, how long is your part of the trial going to take?
Well, I haven't gotten to the witnesses because of the subpoenas, so I don't know how many witnesses, but as you can see on my,
I'll give you half a day. So let's plan this for 1 day trial.
I can't even last an hour, much less half a day.
Well, you're going to have to build up your strength. I suggest you start eating your Wheaties. We'll set this for trial for 1 day. You give me a doctor's statement saying you can't stand for more than an hour, I'll reconsider my decision.
I will do that.
And I want the statements how long you can go, and then we'll go from there. But for now, we'll set this for trial on July 14th. We'll start at 9, and we'll do this by Zoom. So you need to, any witnesses who's going to testify, you need to supply me with their email address so we can, or you need to have it so you can forward them the email, the Zoom invite. And then I'll set a motion deadline. So July 14th. So I'll make June 26th as any motion deadline, as a motion deadline. So any motions after the 26th, I will not consider. And Mr. Potosky, that's the day we start the trial. If you do not appear, the trial can proceed without you, and the warrant could issue for your arrest. You're just being notified of that. I have to notify you of that if you do not appear. I will also wait till, I guess, Mr. Solaris has to respond to your latest motion to dismiss. And I expect your response shortly so I can rule on that. And this hearing proceed unless the Superior Court issues a stay. I mean, Mr. Potosky, if you can get a stay from the Superior Court, obviously that stops me because they're a higher court. Does anyone have any other questions?
Judge, I do have a question. I did receive a document via email regarding a motion to seal, and it says to seal an attachment, and there wasn't I don't have an attachment, so no. So I'm unsure as far as what Mr. Potosky wants to seal.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Mr. Potosky, I don't understand what you're trying. It's not clear to me what you're trying to do.
Well, the contents of that envelope that you opened are requested to be filed. It contains financial information that there's absolutely no reason for the city of Nogales to have access to that. All right. Now, let's get back to the email issue. All right. I was specifically told by Nogales that I could not contact the court or the city attorney's office via email. And then they go ahead and send me an email yesterday. So what's up with that?
Emails are not allowed. emails are back on the table, okay?
So emails are back on the table, okay?
I will, because that's what I do. I mean, it's impracticable for me to operate otherwise.
You got that right.
So, emails are back on the table. Any other, so the issue, so the sealing deals with your financial affidavit.
That is correct.
Okay, I'll tell Ms. Romo to seal that and not open it except by court order. Okay,
Thank you.
that's a perfectly reasonable request. That's what we do here, so that's not unusual. Anything else?
I don't believe so, Judge. I'll take a look at the motion filed by Mr. Potosky and file a response to that, so.
Mr. Potosky, anything else you'd like to consider before we leave today?
Just that I'm requesting that you read the document that I filed just the other day. I will send it to Mr. Solaris and to the city court since you have now approved, and then I can go get the stamps back off my envelope.
Okay,
Probably still in the mailbox.
all right. So I need to, so the one thing, I got a rule, I have to wait for Mr. Solaris' response to your motion to dismiss, and then I got to file a ruling concerning waiver of fees. And that's, as far as I know, that's the only issues outstanding as I speak. Is that correct?
Judge, if I may ask, when was the last motion that was filed by Mr. Potosky?
There was a note, he filed a notice of appeal,
That one I did see, yes.
and then he filed a supplement he called a supplement motion to dismiss, which was filed, which was dated May 25th. And then with that, he also attached a financial affidavit form in the federal district court. And then today, I believe a motion is called objections for the record and Rule 15.2 disclosures. And then there was an emergency motion request for all arguments filed under seal, which I think deals with, which is basically his financial affidavit. And then another notice of appeal. So once again, unless the Superior Court issues a stay, this case is going forward. Is there anything else? Have I missed anything, Mr. Potosky?
Yes. Yeah, give me a second here to get some energy going. The the court records. All right. I'm having difficulty obtaining the court records, and I believe that they are in two places, the Superior Court at Santa Cruz County and the Superior Court in Cochise County. Now, I have obtained months ago, probably well over a year ago, some records from both courts, but they are restricting access to the court right now. And I'm seeing if there are any things that can be done to see if that can be digitized and sent so that I don't have to go to Nogales to do that. Now, Mr. Solares is down there, and perhaps he could get some sort of action on those records.
What records are you seeking?
Well, for example, you saw the last one where Barth made charges of bumping against a Wayne Coates, exact same charge. Okay, that's why I refer to him as bumping Barth. Anyway, he made those charges, the exact same charges against Mr. Coates. Okay, there were a bunch of other stuff in there too, but I would like to get a hold of those records, and I think it's extremely relevant for my case that Barth has made these allegations before, like he made allegations against Lance Crosswaith and a bunch of other people in there, and those court records are very, very important for me to look at. The other set of court records are at the Cochise County Superior Court, and that includes his court case where he sued Cochise County and of course lost. And this court has already seen those records, including what was in those records, a notice of demotion that was that's probably the worst notice of demotion I've ever seen. And I would like those records, from the entire records from that court, along with a set of records that I've never seen, which was Barth versus Barth. And those records were not located anywhere when I visited 3 times to find those records. And I feel that those records are extremely important to me and my case also.
Well, the problem is those records are in custody of Cochise County Superior Court, and I have no jurisdiction over them. I mean, if they're public records, you're entitled to access them pursuant to Arizona Public Records Law.
Patagonia also. And yes, Judge, every single one of these, Mr. Solaris, you're muted now. Okay. Every single one of these requests that I'm asking for records, I have already made under the Arizona Public Records Act, such as the list of sign-ins to that study session where Barth was ousted as the justice of the peace. Now, if people signed in to that session, which I did, and I saw, and there were a bunch of other people on there, all right, those are my witnesses. I need to get a hold of them to see what they saw. And really, it's important to see if they didn't see anything, because it never happened. So I need those records from Santa Cruz County. You're now a Santa Cruz County judge, and I would like to see all of those records as depicted on my 15.2. I'm going to get in with something more important is Tony Estrada, the sheriff, was there along with a deputy who I went to immediately after bumping Barth. Barth bumped me. That was hard to say. Anyway, that deputy, whatever his name is extremely important to my case. He told me at the time, what, the assault? I didn't see a thing. Well, guess what? How did he know assault? I didn't see a thing. Okay, but it's very important for me to depose Tony Estrada and to find out the name of that deputy that was stationed at the door. And the reason those deputies were stationed at the door was because the Board of Supervisors got death threats because they were trying to close the Justice of the Peace Court.
Well, generally what happens when people are trying to get statements from police officers is you first try contacting them and see if they'll talk to you. If they refuse at that point in time, you can file a motion for deposition. But until, you need to at least try to see if they'll talk to you voluntarily. So I would suggest you contact them, send them a letter, something.
I have.
And then
Several
you file
times.
a motion for deposition, and then we'll go from there. In terms, I guess, Sheriff Estrada, as to Cochise County Board of Supervisor meetings, the Nogales City Court has no jurisdiction on the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors. As much as I don't have any jurisdiction over the Pima County Board of Supervisors, the Tucson City Court judge. Though I'm willing to bet it's probably a public record, so if you make a public record request, you can probably get it through the Santa Cruz County Clerk's Office.
Already did.
Excuse me?
I did over a year ago.
And what was their response?
None. They did respond with the audio of the study session, but they didn't respond with the sign-in sheets.
Well, renew that request, and then if you don't get it, you can request a subpoena to get it.
And I will.
Then that's, as to the Cochise County Superior Court's records, I mean, I don't know if there's anything I can do other than say, you got to make a public records request. if they're giving you grief, you might want to contact the Cochise County Attorney's Office, or at least their civil division, if they have say, hey, look, where is this? See what they say. But because I have no authority over them. I mean, I don't have any, even as Nogales City Court judge, I have no authority over the Santa Cruz County officials. There's limits to what I can and can't do.
But you are a Santa Cruz County judge, and you can order the Santa Cruz County.
I'm considered Nogales City Court judge, Nogales County judge. It's a difference.
I
recall the order. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I thought it was Santa Cruz County.
I was appointed by the Santa Cruz County judge, Judge Fink. That much I know. Let me see that. It was like in February, if I remember right.
You were assigned to this case in February?
February 20th is the date that Judge Fink signed the order. Yeah, he appointed Tucson City Court. He's appointed a Pima County City Court judge, which was me, February 20th. And in it says the matter is retained in Nogales Municipal Court for all proceedings and hearings. And I'm just merely the judge who happens to be hearing over the city and over the case, but it's considered a Nogales City Court case. So I'm not appointed as a Santa Cruz County judge, just a Nogales City Court judge. So, and anything else?
Other than what I submitted to you today.
Okay, like I said, we got to wait for Mr. Solaris' response to your motion to dismiss. I got a rule on your request for waiver of fees. And I don't think, do you think we need to have a status hearing before the 14th and before the 26th or the 14th?
I guess it depends, Judge, on if the Mr. Potosky files certain motions or certain documents, then we may have to take a look at those before the trial. So,
well, let's go ahead and set a review here on June 26th, which is the last day to file motions, and we'll know at that point in time what has and hasn't been filed.
Well, I'm going to be filing the appeal, so you might as well just sit on it for a while.
No, the appeal does not file an appeal during cases pending.
It's after.
Case unless you get a stay by a Superior Court judge, this case keeps going. Filing an appeal does not stop this process.
Oh, it will.
You get a stay from the Superior Court. Filing an appeal you can file the appeal will run from the date of judgment in this case, but until then, the appeal is without a stay. It has no effect. It has no legal import. So until you get if you get a stay, it stops us, no doubt. But if you don't get a stay, we keep going. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Not from the state, Judge.
I'll go ahead and set a review here for June 26th at 3 o'clock, and then we'll see where we're at, which is a couple.
Hold on.
Okay.
June 26th at 3 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Okay. Anything else? We okay now?
Nothing else from the state, Judge.
Potosky, anything else?
No.
Let me see, Ms. Romo, anything?
I have her muted.
Oh,
No, Judge, there's nothing else for the court.
all right. That's it. We're done. Till next time.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
What is that?